Hello guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Dream Pack review. And this time we're going to be racing the Alfa Romeos around the Nürburgring.
Yep, this is an Alfa Romeo only video, and we're going to take it around the tourist track. I believe it's in German, it's called the Touristenfahrten or something.
I knew that.
Something like that.
I knew that.
We're going to start with the Alfa Romeo 4C, and then we're going to do the Alfa Romeo GTA, and then we're going to do the full-on race car from 1993, the 155 V6 Ti. Yeah. We'll talk about, we'll do a normal review. We'll start with the specs, and then we'll talk about any problems we've come across and what we think of the car, and we'll do that for all three.
That was a little clip you just...
Yeah, just clip the curb there.
Yeah. What I will say about the Alfa Romeo, before we get into the nitty-gritty, is they are beautiful looking cars.
You say that, but
I wouldn't say they're all beautiful.
No, I like them.
I think all Alfa Romeos are beautiful in some angle.
Yeah.
In some way, they're all beautiful.
There's probably a rare few that
there are a few,
but I think they've got that charm about it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's because of the whole Italian designers, Bertone, Pininfarina, and all of them. But you know what I didn't like about this car in its design? Its front lights.
Welcome back to the front.
Yeah, I was not really a fan of its front lights. But apart from that, from every other angle, this car looks beautiful.
I think what they try to do is make it look different and stand out. And more often than not, they pull it off.
Yeah, it did.
I'll be honest with you. You're not a big fan of front. I don't think they look that bad.
They're not bad looking, but I just don't. I think Alfa Romeo had it bang on when they used to do those thin 3 lights.
Yeah,
I think they had it bang on.
I think they've got to change.
But they've got to change a bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this car is obviously the Alfa Romeo 4C. It's supposed to be Alfa Romeo's answer to the MX-5. It's their competitor. So that makes it obviously a 2-seater coupe, and it makes it incredibly light. Now, Alfa Romeo never officially would give the weight of the car, but apparently it's about 895 kilograms, so in true Alfa Romeo fashion it's really, really light. 240 bhp at about 6,000 rpm, so it's powerful, light, all the makings of a nice sports car. And it's got 350 newton meters of torque, which gives it a 0 to 60 4.5 seconds. See,
just that clip there, I'm going to disagree with you. I actually like the way it looks.
I mean, I love the back of it.
Even the headlights, I think they've got. I think they've gone for that Porsche look, and I think they managed to pull it off as well.
Yeah,
by not copying.
I think it's one of those cars that is okay. I like it, but you may not like it as much.
Let's just watch this. Hold on, I want to show you something. That weird bounce. We're going to come on to that in a few seconds.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I don't like that.
No, as we go. Anyway, back to your visuals. You're right, it looks really, really nice. What engine size is it again? It's a
1.7, which is an odd display.
Yeah, you don't think get 1.7. But it is a 1.7 litre turbocharged.
Unless it's a diesel 1.7.
No, it's not a diesel. That's definitely a petrol.
Yeah, but 1.7.
That's a bit of an odd number.
It is 1.7 litre, so it's turbocharged, and it's a 6-speed flappy paddle. Flappy paddle gearbox, which is okay. We were using it on our Logitech G27. That's fine. It's also equipped with launch control. Don't know how to use it in Assetto Corsa. Don't actually know if it's in there. Right. So I didn't use a launch control.
I'm trying to say to put your foot on the brake pedal and launch it to 3,500. I wonder if they
it doesn't work. I tried it. It didn't work. However, we've said that.
Yeah. Now we get on to the problems.
Yeah, the problems.
First of all, we'd like to point out one of our users did mention there was an issue with
the gearbox.
With the gearbox,
yeah. And he actually put up a video to show us this clip of him revving this car up, switching through the gears. So thank you very much for putting that video up, because it did highlight it to us, and we've tried it and we've checked it, and you can hear it. Yeah. You can hear it now,
especially in this view.
When you change gear on a flappy paddle, you expect it to be one gear, next gear,
instant.
I mean, 0.1, 0.2, maybe 0.3 of a second, but quite fast. When you change the gear on this, it's not instant. It feels like it's going into neutral, not engaging the clutch, and then trying to force itself into another gear.
It feels like you're downshifting and then quickly going back and up
exactly.
gear. Yeah.
Or it feels like it feels like the gearbox is you're pressing it, and the gearbox is sort of going out of gear, getting stuck out of gear, and then thinking for a few milliseconds, and then going into the next gear. It's not a huge, huge thing, but it's noticeable.
It should be responsive.
I'm assuming the actual car itself is that there's
the actual car doesn't do this.
No, so it's probably just
it's an in-game issue.
There's an issue in game here where you're shifting up, and like actually the one subscriber who did, Leo, thank you very much for pointing this out to us. Like he said, it feels like it's trying to shift up 2 gears and failing. That's the kind of response time you're looking at. Now, I did a bit more tests on this off camera because I don't think it'd be very fun to see me going from first, second. But I did this down the back straight, and I noticed that when I was going from first to second, it was starting to wheel spin. So from first to second, it wasn't smooth. There was a distinctive jump, as if the clutch definitely was not engaging. Right, so there's something majorly wrong with the gearbox on this car, on this version of the car in Assetto Corsa. As to what it is, we can't exactly tell you.
In layman terms, if it was a real car, you'd take it back to the manufacturer.
Yeah, if it was a real car, this would be back at Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
And there'd be some serious issues and some serious talks going on. My only thoughts are when I'm looking at it is I think that the gearbox, the settings in the gearbox are wrong in terms of response time. So the sound thinks it's supposed to be doing one thing, the physics thinks it's supposed to be doing one thing, and what in matter of fact it is doing is something completely different.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue we've got, and it really kind of ruins the whole charm of the car.
Yeah, because I mean the noise aspect it's quite important now.
Yeah, but it's not just the noise, it's the fact that when you're changing gear you've got this constant lurching.
Yeah.
You're not in control of the car for those milliseconds. You're no longer in control of the car, and it's annoying. And when you're trying to shift up gears, say through a corner, and you've got your foot down and shift up gear, suddenly it lurches forward. It will unbalance the car, because obviously it's a simulation. It's going to be very, very hefty on all those physics and balancing things correctly, etc., etc. And by doing that, you've unbalanced the car, and that ruins the car for me.
Yeah. And did we mention the suspension?
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
The suspension feels really soft.
Yeah.
It's a sports car. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to have suspension that soft. I am pretty sure about that. The fact that it does have suspension that soft means that, like you saw on that jump where I stopped you, the car tends to bounce a lot, and I don't like that. Now, obviously, we could just go ahead and stiffen the suspension, but I feel personally this car should have a stiffer suspension stock than it has.
Yeah.
So, I think there's something wrong with this car. There are some issues with this car. I think Kunos need to look at it and see what exactly has gone wrong with this car. I think this is the only car in the pack that has issues like that. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. And because of that, I'm not going to recommend people generally drive this car, even though, admittedly, it is fun to oversteer.
Well, until they sort it out. Once they've sorted it out, I'm going to give it a decent mark. I mean,
let's give it a mark saying if it's considered it's fixed.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a nice car to drive.
Yeah, I'd give it a solid B.
Yeah, I think something like a B. It's a nice car to drive. It feels sometimes a little lacking on power, but what it lacks in power, it makes up for fun in the corners.
But that's Alfa Romeo's for you.
That's Alfa Romeo. It being a simulator, it's reliable. It's not going to break down because it's a simulator. Of course, that being said, we do have a gearbox issue, which means, in typical Alfa fashion, that is true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a running gag by Kunos.
Yeah. or that you need an AA card with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to crash it here actually, just because
That is quite a surprise, from Kunos. That.
But I guess every company makes a mistake now and then.
Or it could just, like you said, it could be just
be
to point out that Alfa Romeo you do need an AA card or RSC card with you.
That is true.
Yeah.
Anyway, saying that, I think it is a good car.
Yeah.
It is a good car, but these problems with it, I don't recommend driving it yet.
Yeah.
Let them fix it, and then once it's fixed, especially the gearbox, the suspension you can tweak yourself.
Yeah.
The gearbox seriously needs work, and it shouldn't be that clunky. It shouldn't take that long to shift through gears, and it shouldn't lurch forward as if the car's being pushed. Every time I shift gear, it feels like the car's being pushed at the back. So that's brought us to the end. We've just gone past the gantry, the Audi R8 Sport. Actually, we should be getting that car soon in Assetto Corsa at some point.
Audi R8.
Yeah, we should be getting that at some point. I'm not sure if it's the GT3 version or the normal version. It could be both.
Yeah.
Is it V10?
I think we're going to get the V8 and V10.
Oh.
But don't quote me on that. So we're just going to cruise along a bit. This is where I was playing around with the gears somewhat. And we're just going to pull in over here. So I think that's car number 1 done. As I pull in, and I actually found a nice parking spot. This is typical. I think this is what you typically would do when you go over here. There you go.
Yeah.
Just
So
put
is
it on
that like a
nicely.
bus stop?
I think it is. I think it is some sort of bus stop. But anyway, that's the end of that
It looks
one.
like quite a wide car, doesn't it?
It is a wide car. Let's go to the next one though,
Yeah.
which is quite fun.
Right, so that brings us on to our second car, the Alfa Romeo GTA. This is a 1.6 litre straight 4 engine, and it comes in at 750 kg, which is slightly lighter than the previous one. I mean, you go to the gym, don't you? So I mean, you could bench press that.
Oh, I think that's a bit too heavy for me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, and it's at 170 brake, which is slightly on the low side, I think.
It may be the slowest out of the lot, but if you
is the
think about the
slowest.
power to weight ratio, that is really good.
That is true. That's not a bad power to weight ratio. And I'm going to say, before we start talking about the looks or whatever it is, slowest car in the Dream Pack. Despite that, it is the most fun. It is the most fun car in the entire Dream Pack, and I mean that ahead of the McLaren F1 GTR.
Okay. I mean, this is fun, not speed or anything like that.
Not speed,
It's just a fun car,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go fast and be on the edge of things and really push your mental capacity, then you want the McLaren F1.
Can you explain why it's so fun? What's so good about it?
It's the car itself. Well, first of all, it's got very skinny tires.
Yeah.
It's a 1960s car. It's I don't know, 1966, something like that.
Yeah, 1966.
Because of that, okay, that hooter was not in game if you heard that. 1966. Because of that, and it's got skinny tires. It's a high car. They didn't have that many aerodynamics. The car it's go around the corner and you're going whee. You're around the corner. You're going left, but you're steering right.
So it makes that noise when he goes round.
Yeah, it makes that noise.
Okay.
And if it doesn't make that noise, you'll definitely make that noise.
I mean, we'll go back in there, but shall we have talk about how it actually looks?
Yeah. Now, you said
Okay.
Alfa Romeos look great.
Yeah.
This one, I am not faulting you on at all.
This is.
It looks hideous.
No, what are you talking
What
about?
are you on
It's
about?
beautiful. It's
This
absolutely
is the most
come on.
beautiful car.
No.
This is one of the most beautiful Alphas I have ever seen.
Honestly, I
Come
love.
on.
No, I
No,
love.
I am
I really
completely
like this
serious.
car. I really like
That
this.
is a beautiful Alpha.
You can get a lot of it at auction as well, but
I
we won't
guess.
go into that. That's
I
different.
guess it's two against one here then.
No, but
I think it's more like 200,000 against one.
yeah, probably more.
Okay, anyone watching this video, leave in the comments box whether you think this Alpha is a beautiful car or not. Just say beautiful or not beautiful. That's all we want you to leave. Every single person who watches.
Okay, sorry, I take that back. I'd say it's a nice looking
No,
car.
no.
No,
You can't
it's-
just change your mind. You've said
it's
it's not beautiful,
beautiful.
and that's that. Right. So we've started that debate off, and now we're going to go back to the car itself, the way it
Yeah.
looks. I mean, I love it.
Guys,
I'll be honest with you, I actually want this
Can I
car.
really please say that comment back because I think it is nice.
No, it's not. You can't take it back now. You can't
Now,
change your
now
mind.
you're stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, admittedly, inside it does lack the whole modern sophistication.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
but
that,
that's.
but it's got a beautiful charm to it.
But who cares about the whole modern look when you're having fun driving this car? Drifting around the corners as much as I saw you doing that. Most of the
Exactly. Well, I think in this video, I tried my best not to drift it. I did end up drifting it a couple of times, but I tried my best not to, just to keep things, a bit more sane, as it were. But obviously, it doesn't work. in this
I
car.
even asked you,
What-
was
what-
there any problems with this car? And you said no.
No.
That's how good it is.
What we will say is to give this car a go. You're not going to get the fastest track time, but you will have a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, your lap time on the Nürburgring is going to be around. I think you can get probably a 9-minute lap or something like that out of it. Maybe 9-10 minute lap. So it's no way going to beat a Nissan GTR. It's no way going to beat the McLarens. It's not the P1, whatever. What it is going to do is put the biggest smile on your face,
Yeah.
especially if you've got a wheel. However, what you just saw there, I'm just going to put it out there. Bit of advice: keep the car off the damn curbs. Like, seriously, keep the car off them. Doesn't matter whether they're small or big, just keep the car off them, because light car, tiny car, 1960s,
Yeah. It's not,
underpowered.
it's not very good on that, so if you say that first. But it
Just don't hit the curb, because you are going to just bounce all over the place. However, what you should do, and this is my advice here, get up to the car, get up to a corner, come in at a really hot speed, come in really hot, hit the brakes, get the car trail braking, because it's very easy to trail brake. Get the car trail braking, get the wheel turned in, and use the curb as a guidance for you to slide the car around. That's how a curb should be used in this. There you go, I'm hitting the curb again.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
if you hit the curb,
that was ridiculous. That was.
it's funny. It's funny though.
Back in the day, it won a hell of a lot of races, didn't it?
Yeah, it won the title in 1966, and then there was an evolution of this car. They changed a few things on it, made it a little bit more powerful, and it won that title, another title in 1970, and it won a load of races in the 70s. So it's got pedigree.
And only 500 were made.
Yeah,
So-
500
Which makes it a very rare car.
Not only that, you often see on Alfa Romeos now, on the top models, they have, for example, Mito, Alfa Romeo Mito. They'll have the Mito GT8, or they'll have the Giulietta GT8. In fact, this is a Giulietta. This is a Giulietta series. Or you'll have the Fiat 155 used to have one, GTA 157 GTA. This is where the name GTA comes from. It's all from this car. Now, GT, as always, stands for Gran Turismo. Whatever language it's in, if it says GT, it means Gran Turismo in some sense. American Gran Tourer, Italian Gran Turismo, French, I don't know how to say it, but it's all Gran Turismo. The A stands for, now this is Italian, so I can't pronounce it. I think it's Allegretto, and it means light, which is exactly what this car was. So it was a Gran Turismo light version of an Alfa Romeo race car.
And not a popular violent video game.
No, it wasn't. Can you imagine that? The Alfa Romeo Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's not gonna.
No.
Right, I was trying not to mention it, but
No, might as well.
Okay.
It's there. I mean, everyone's going to see it.
to be
GTA?
fair, to be fair, there's quite a few cars that actually look like it in the third installment, GTA 3.
Actually, you're right about that.
There is, isn't there?
There are quite a few.
Was it Liberty? No.
Liberty City and Liberty City. But it wasn't called
Anyway,
Liberty City. Anyway,
right, back at the Corsa.
so looking at this car, it's a very, very nice car. I mean, we're coming into the more technical side of the track now, and this is where the car sort of comes into its own. You're gonna have the car sliding left, right, forwards, backwards. Advice again, especially for a hill section, which is like the second part of the Nürburgring. You want to make sure you're in the right gear, no matter what. So when you're coming uphill, you need to be in the right gear. Simply because this car, like we said, is down on power. It's light, but it's down on power. Not only that, it's only got 200 Newton meters of torque. So that's not brilliant, right? Because of that, when you go up a hill and you're in the wrong gear, you're going to feel it bogged down. Like, seriously bogged down. If you think about it, take a 1 litre car up a hill.
Yeah,
Right.
it will struggle.
It struggles.
I know where you're coming from, yeah.
So this car needs to be in the right gear before you've got to the hill. Now, you'll see a few clips in here where I've purposely got it in the wrong gear, and you see the car struggle until I downshift, and then you see it sort of jump forward,
yeah.
and sort of power its way through.
What I will say, that there's not the issues from the previous Alfa
No.
on this one, which is,
Well, this is a manual gearbox,
Yeah,
so
imagine if we did have those problems and you're downshifting and up, going back.
it'd be horrific.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a manual gearbox, so it's okay anyway. Any problems with shifting are my own fault entirely. Either me
Whoa.
pressing the clutch wrong.
Did you see that?
I said I was going to try not
you said
to.
not to, but
Does
what
it
are
look,
you doing?
Does it look like a puppy from the front with his tail, with his tongue out? Seriously.
The way it's wagging its tail around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that.
Pun. But seriously, no. It's a great car.
It's a great car.
It's a really great car. But it is slow.
It is.
However, if you want to learn how to drive rear-wheel drive cars, this is the one. This is the car to choose.
I think that's a very valid point there. I mean, rear-wheel cars are quite difficult to drive in comparison,
Exactly. Because of the whole issues of the weight balance
Yeah,
and
exactly.
tail
Yeah.
wanting to swing out, momentum, etc. This car is great to learn in because it's not that powerful, but it allows you to understand the control,
Yeah.
understand the whole concept of counter steering and trail braking, etc. So we're coming up to the end of this lap. How do we rate this car from Kunos?
I'm going to give it a C.
Really?
What?
No,
C?
because hear me out.
Okay.
Yes, it looks good, but for me, I'm all about speed.
Right. Okay.
And that is why I love the way it looks and everything. Don't get me wrong, but I'm judging it on speed and the comparison to the other car was a B, so I've got to give this car a C.
Right. Okay.
I'm not talking about fun to drive. If you're going to fun, it'd probably be an A star, but we're not. I'm just joking.
And
about C.
and we are saying that the 4C with it fixed, the
Yeah.
4C in its current state
Yeah.
is a massive fail. It's
yeah.
an F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I was gonna give this car a B similar to the 4C. Like you said, there is that aspect of it being slow, but I think it's the key Alfa elements remaining in fun around the corners. Not the fastest car, but
So
fun around
before
the
you give your grade, the reason why I give it a C is it's going to be one of them cars you play once, twice. You can't see yourself playing it all the time.
corners. That is true.
That is why I'm giving it a C.
Yeah, that is true.
I'll have to agree with you on there, but yeah, I think I'll agree with you on the B because, okay, considering it's one of those cars that you won't drive as much, it's still one of those cars that you'll take out and you'll enjoy it. It's not, for this car's not obviously built for speed, it's just built for having fun.
It's built for having fun and it's built for racing.
Exactly.
But it's not built for going fast anywhere.
So for that very reason,
In fact, if this was in real life, I think this car would probably not be making it out the garage anymore.
Yeah, it'd be an auction. It'd be getting sold for lots of money.
Yeah, but unlike all the rest of the auction cars that would be going off under their own power, this will be towed by the AA.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've pulled back in and I'm going to take my familiar parking spot. Because, I don't know. I'm just taking that. That is now my parking spot for any videos I do in the Nürburgring on this thing. That is the parking spot now. Pull it in, stick it in neutral, and I think we'll switch to the next car. We'll see you in a few seconds.
On to the third and final Alfa Romeo of the day is the Alfa Romeo 155 V6 Ti 1993 model.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, definitely is. Now I'm aware they made, what is it, from 1993 till 1996.
I think 92 to 96 is actually when they were making these cars. But there was an upgrade in 93 at this point, so that's the car we've got right now.
Yeah.
Then there was an upgrade in 94. Actually, 94 was fine. 95 they had another upgrade, and 96 they had an upgrade.
Yeah.
And we'll go into the reason for those upgrades in a moment. But obviously, as we do, we've got to go over the specs first.
Go on. So we'll start off. We'll say it's a 2.5 litre V6 engine, so more powerful than the previous two.
Not only that, have you seen how high it's revving up?
I was
gonna say the next
12.
point. Almost 12,000.
It does rev to 12,000.
Are you
Its maximum
sure
power is at 11.5.
Wow.
Yeah, are you sure this is a touring car, not a Formula 1 car?
I think they've just bolted. I think what Formula 1 have done, Formula 1 were watching this car and thought, that engine is going to work for us. And it sounds just like it. It sounds like the Formula 1 car. In a number of the clips you will hear it, and you will not be able... If we put that against the, the Ferrari Formula 1 car this year, and had the two doing a flyby, and slowed down the Ferrari to be at the same speed as this, you wouldn't tell the difference. It revs the same, it sounds the same, it's just everything's the same. The supercharger, even the backfire's the same.
Well, yeah, the looks wise, it's pretty boxy.
It's a boxy car, yeah. It's a detailed car.
Yeah, it's a...
Now, there's one thing I've got to point out. I absolutely hate the back of the car. Not the backlights or anything, but the exhaust way sticking up
exhaust
like that.
upwards.
Why?
No, hang on.
Okay.
No. I'm gonna differ from you there. I think this car, if you look at the back now, so there you go. Look at the back now. That car wouldn't look out of place in 2014, 2015.
You're right, but I do see what he means about the exhaust.
No, but what I'm saying is ahead of its time.
I'm sorry, but
At that time, it probably looked ghastly.
But nowadays, that would be classed as rice. Having
your
exhaust pointed upwards like that.
Be careful, because Alfa Romeo are going to come and beat you up now.
No, so,
but for calling them a ricer, they're going to come beat you up.
I think they're quite...
I'm not saying the cars, I'm saying the way they point the exhaust upwards. I don't like that.
However, there must be a reason behind it. There has to be a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Remember, this car's a race car, so it's got race rules. So they have to do things to fit those
Maybe
rules.
it's a performance thing.
Could be a performance thing.
Yeah.
Could be a thing about the fact that the exhaust was too hot and it was damaging the tarmac behind. After all, this thing's revving at 12,000 RPM.
That is true.
That's a lot of hot exhaust going to come out the back. Right? It's a four-wheel drive. Yeah. The only four-wheel drive car in this pack. Contrary to what I said last week, the P1 is not four-wheel drive. That was a stupid move of me to say, and I apologise. This is the only four-wheel drive car in the pack. However, despite it being four-wheel drive, only 33% of the power is to the front wheels. I didn't know this when I took this out for a spin.
So technically, it's not a four-wheel drive then?
It is a four-wheel drive, but most of them are normally 60-40 or 50-50. This is 30-60 kind of, or 30-70.
So it's 30 to the front and 60 towards the back.
70 towards the back, yeah, somewhere around that. Yeah.
Oh, and we forgot to mention it's 420 brake.
Yeah. And that all that power comes at 11,500 RPM, so you do need to rev this car right up.
Yeah, you know what I'm shocked about is this car produces 420 brake horsepower with only 294 Newton meters of torque.
It's not a very torquey car.
It's a very torquey car, isn't it?
Yeah, this doesn't have that much torque, but it does have the power. And like I said, I didn't know about the all-wheel drive, how it was. I assumed it was something like 60-40 or even 50-50. So when I started driving this car and I started realising, when I'm taking around the course, I'm thinking, hang on, this is really twitchy still. And I said to you while we were recording, this is something's odd here. And so we thought, I asked you to do a little bit of research.
You felt it was a bit loose, yeah.
I felt that the car is a little bit loose going to the corner, so realised it's not, which means that they have put this four-wheel drive implementation quite well. I think I quite like it. So well done to Kunos for that. It's a 6-speed sequential gearbox, so it's working manual on ours, on the Logitech G27 wheel we use. It's a manual. Future versions of this car did go to paddle shift, but obviously we don't have that here, and that's fine.
And it weighs in, well, over a ton.
Yeah.
At 1.1 ton.
That's including everything, the fuel.
No, but hang on a sec. The body panels are made of carbon fibre.
So
yeah,
it's got a heavy engine.
It's got well, everything else.
It's got to be heavy.
Must weigh a ton.
But you know what's odd? Normally, when we look at road cars, for example, the BMW that you used to have, how much did it weigh? Was it 1.4ish?
Yeah, I think it was
about 1.5. About 1.4.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the cars, you're looking at about 1.5 tons per car. Small cars, you know, minis and super minis, they're normally around the 1 ton, 1.2 ton mark. Cars like that size cars, family cars, are about 1.5 tons. And then you've got obviously luxury cars coming up too. This is 1.1 ton, and yet it's the heaviest Alfa Romeo we've had in this.
But it is. We've got to stress the fact that a lot of it is a lot of the panels are carbon fibre.
Yeah,
it saves I think a couple of hundred there.
You're probably looking at about saving about 100 kilos, something like that.
Yeah.
Because obviously steel is much heavier than carbon fibre. You're looking at an 8 times heavier points. So it depends on what kind of carbon fibre they used, where and when. But it looks from the outside, if you look at the car, it had to look, as according to the rules, the DTM rules and the International Touring Car Championship rules, which is why it entered, it had to look like the road car. Everything from the wheels up. Right. The only thing that was different was it had a rear wing. That's the only difference. It had a rear wing. Below that though, below the wheels is where it's got all the bells and whistles. So it's got some crazy, if you look at it, it's got some crazy spoiler down at the bottom, and it's got a whole load of stuff.
I'm going to put it out there. I don't like this car.
I'm going to put it out there. I don't like this car.
And I'll agree with you on both of you.
The thing is, it's Alfa Romeo, and I'm not gonna say it for you because I still think it looks nice.
It still looks nice. There's no doubt about that.
It just doesn't feel like there's no enjoyment in it. Like, you know what, I can see. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I haven't driven this car. I'm gonna put it out, but I didn't want to drive it.
I drove it, and while I was driving, funnily enough, you weren't here when I was actually saying this. I was saying this. I did not feel myself enjoying the car.
I could see not having fun with it. It's like you're driving with one hand. And it's like you didn't like
driving. There was no sense of being on edge on this car. The only thing that you were on edge was when you downshifted too early. That was the only part you had a bit of excitement and stuff. Apart from that, you know, the noise is loud and rackety, but I didn't feel much more than that. When the car was sliding, it was a 4-wheel drive. It wasn't too hard to catch. I don't know.
It's almost as if it didn't have much of a soul.
Exactly, it had no personality. That's a good one. It didn't have a personality. There was no soul to the car. The previous two Alphas, despite the problems on the first one, they had a soul. The second one definitely had a soul. In fact, that one had a soul and a full body as well. Right? This one lacked a soul. Like, seriously lacked a soul.
There's something missing.
What did they do wrong in this matter?
Well, they didn't do anything wrong because they won race after race after race.
I know, that's the thing. The amount of races has won
until 1995 anyway, where they decided to put a load of electronics in the car, and in typical Italian fashion, completely ruined it. Yeah. And they completely failed, and Mercedes absolutely demolished them. The main competitor for this car, before we do pull into the pits again, which is going to be soon, was the Mercedes 190E DTM race car.
That's in this pack as well.
And that's in this pack. So that is going to be the first car we review in the next episode.
Yeah, so we can actually we'll compare the two.
We will compare the two. What I can tell you now is the Mercedes doesn't rev anywhere near as high as this car.
So it's not Formula 1, just to let you know.
No, it's not. It's not a Formula 1 car. But seriously, at the end of it, I didn't want to race it again. I mean, I understand the potential for it. It's a fast car.
Yeah.
It's great. It won loads of races. Well done to Alfa. Well done to Alfa for making a very nice race car. But what you failed to do there is you failed to make an Alfa Romeo. Yeah. Alfa Romeos aren't supposed to be about... I mean, yeah, you want to win races, but they're not supposed to be about winning every race everywhere.
I mean, it's not supposed to be just about winning. It should be about winning with personality. So,
exactly.
You know.
So on that, there's one other problem that I'm just going to quickly mention as we come to the end of this video. Textures on the internal view. External view, sorry. Bit blurry. So I don't know whether that's a mistake or not. Overall, this car's kind of a bittersweet way to end Alfa Romeo.
I'll quickly grade it. I'm going to give it a D.
I'm going to give it a C.
I'll give it a C as well.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's the end of that video. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button if you like this video, and we'll do part 3 next week.